Hey, what's up? I'm here to talk about the ban list. Sorry, I'm in a little bit of a scuffed setup right now. I've just moved place, and I'm gonna try as hard as I can to make this not seem so scuffed. So first, I'm just gonna delete a row because no change. Essentially, I'm just gonna be going over these and talking about why they should be banned, why they might be banned, and why they might be unlimited or don't need to be changed. And it's in a bit of a weird order because I'm pretty sure this was just kind of thrown together, but I'm just going to go through these because there's a lot of people who don't really understand the reasoning behind a lot of cards that should be banned, cards that are in the format, and some cards that are banned and why they should remain banned. Anyways, title. Um, as far as the Dragon Rulers go, I really do not care where they are on the ban list. I don't think it really matters at all, but I also don't think that they're necessarily a healthy force for the game. I don't think the game is better with the Dragon Rulers in them, and especially title. And I'm just going to grab, where's Redox here? And I'm just going to put them in banned because them having generic use means that one day they're going to be strong, and the effects that they have mean that any deck that they're inevitably going to be strong in, they're going to be ban worthy in, which is fun because we all love cards like that. Anyway, speaking of cards like that, Cyberstone should be banned. It should have been banned a long time ago. It's only ever used in FDKs, and there are FDKs that exist a bit in every format. Trust me, I built them all. Anyways, Masterpiece. Masterpiece is just a little bit too strong for what it does. Hard to out, gets a bounce. It just gives True Draco a huge payoff. You could argue that this card could come back to one, but I also don't think that the format would be any better with True Draco in it, given that True Draco already isn't unviable. You can play it. No one's stopping you. It's not terrible. Anyway, skill drain. It should not be at 3, but any position between here and here is really fine by me, but I think it'd be fine to just go back to limited so that it's less reliable to see it in a floodgate deck because it is the strongest floodgate in a lot of those decks. Anyways, Mist should be at 3. It doesn't matter. Dino's not going to be meta again. Not even with the new cards, right? So, the thing a lot of people say about Misk is that it shuts off the interaction in Dino decks. It means that you can't stop them, blah blah. Realistically, right, you have Veil or Imperm. They're the only things that are actually going to get stopped by Misk because everything else you're hitting in Graveyard is going to be useless anyways. Ash, for example, you Ash Misk. Like Gamma, you can Gamma Misk effect in Graveyard. You can basically do whatever the hell you want to Misk. The only cards that are really going to be like not interactive in that deck is like Veiler Imperm. But realistically, if you're going to Veil or Imperm, it's perfectly fine to just do that on Scrap Wyvern if they're on a Scrap build. Or any build that is almost definitely going to be just ending on Dolkar or Apollosa. You can Ogre an Apollosa on board and it outs all the negates. I don't know if many people know that, but not enough people know that. Imperm is very good against the M board. You can just freely out Dolkar. That thing's a dragon, even if Misk was at 3 and they could chain Misk to your Imperm during your turn. That's not stopping you from Imperming Dolkar. Point is that any of the hand traps that people say that Dino makes, like, avoids, aren't actually avoided. You still get value. Anyways, block Dragon, keep it banned. No, there's no reason for this. Engage should stay limited. Sky Striker is not a good deck, but Engage is still like the strongest card in the deck, and having 3 Engage in the game would just be incredibly unhealthy. This should stay at 3, I don't care. Gimmick Puppet Nightmare should be banned, none of the other ways is it. So, they're about to release the new Albion. Banning Expulsion does not a whole lot because of that. It means that they no longer get the lock when they get nibbed because the Albion can't set Expulsion during end phase, but that's about it. And like, for example, if you're going to Ash Albion, you're ashing Brand of Fusion instead. Realistically, Gimmick Puppet Nightmare is the easiest access lock, and it doesn't activate, and it does not go away. Like, it lingers, and it doesn't activate. And like, I feel like you'll need to understand just how powerful Gimmick Puppet Nightmare is to summon to your opponent's field. Whether you're doing it with Expulsion or if you're doing it in another deck, I don't care, it doesn't matter. Anyways, Prank Kids Meow Meow Meow, as much as I meme that it could come back to limited and be fine, Adamancipator would greatly benefit from this. Prank Kid is one of the strongest archetypes ever printed. Self recursion is absurd. Keep it banned. Branded Lost, no. That can stay unlimited. Same with Expulsion if we're banning Nightmare, to be honest. Alibi is fine. Branded Opening is fine. Pot of Prosperity is fine. Draconic Diagram can stay at 1. Sprite Jet, you can limit it or semi-limited, it doesn't really matter. If you really want to hit Sprite's consistency, the real problem in a lot of the Sprite decks is the Runic cards being able to draw you 3 cards every turn, so as long as they're available, it doesn't matter where Sprite Jet is, you're going to draw into it anyways, but I'm just going to say put it limited, I guess. Electromite can stay banned, I don't care. Early should realistically be banned. It's going to be banned one day. It's inevitable. Any deck that can tutor it out and like just lock the opponent out of summoning other than links. And if your opponent is on a deck that likes to lock them into a certain mechanic, have fun with that evilly, unless you tribute something over it. Do I try best deck? Gazelle, it doesn't matter where you put the salad cards, the deck's not good, you can put Gazelle to 3. Unicorn should be limited. People say limit Fenrir. Fenrir being limited, all that does is restrict it to use of Kashtira because you're summoning it off Theosis anyways, and guess what's grabbing Theosis? Unicorn. Now, Birth should also... there should be a hit to Birth somewhere. I don't really give a shit what happens to it. Let's just say unlimited for now if we're limiting Unicorn, and, well, for the sake of argument, we're banning Diablosis, obviously. Sprite's Brand is going to be banned one day, but for now it's fine. Sprite Starter, I guess you could limit it, and then we'll just put Jetpack to 3. Hugin, hitting Hugin does nothing. Branded Fusion. Branded's not a good deck. Put it to 3. Keep it at 3. D-Barrier should be banned, obviously. I feel like nobody disagrees with that. Shangri-La, Shangri-La... Oh, this is the first one I've actually had to think. So... you could limit this and stop some of the more oppressive locks that the deck can put up, but realistically, without Diablosis, it's not putting up those oppressive locks right away. I feel like we shouldn't overhit Cash. As much as I love this twink, I think he should stay limited. Runic Tip, I think that semiing Tip and limiting Fountain is enough to hit Runic decks. I feel like that's enough. That's good. I think we can stop there. Fenrir can stay at 3. This card is possibly the least hittable card in the Kashtira archetype, other than like the bad ones. But yeah, Arise Heart. Provided we hit Diablosis, provided that we hit Unicorn, either Kashtira, Arise Heart, or Birth should be hit. In the future, Arise Heart is going to have to be banned one day. One day, Arise Heart is going to have to be banned. But for now, we can just kind of... Actually, yeah, ban Arise Heart, I don't care. Blue... Who's getting mad at blue? Like... I think that blue could stay at 1 or 2. So that way there's less opportunity, because it's not unrealistic for a strat deck to go through all 3 copies of blue. And I feel like that you could limit or semi-limit this as a resource limiting opportunity, but realistically you don't need to, so I think it can stay unlimited. Desires can stay semied, I don't give a fuck, it's funny at 2. Colossus should stay banned. As much as it probably wouldn't be best deck, I feel like it's just not fun. Trident should stay banned. Every second, like, understand, please, that every second format that Trident is in, Trident will be a problem. Trident is never going to be a fair card. Normal summoning and overlaying into Trident in 2 summons is absurd. And it's stronger than normal summoning Alistair. Even if normal summon Alistair gets you Mechaba, a furry DPE is still way better than that. Party Boat. I don't want wind up combos in the game. Lunalight Tiger can stay at 1, it's cool at 1. If you put it to any more than 1, Common Charity would be fucked up. Samorg Bird of Sovereignty can come back. Now that Stormwinds is gone, it can come back. Summoning Epic Avion is not that big of a deal. Eradicator, I think it should be banned. I don't think if we're hitting D barrier, I feel like Labyrinth should have some place. Naturia Beast is probably it's banned or it's unlimited. Hitting it to 1 does nothing. Hitting it to 2, of course, does nothing. But this is if it's a matter of health for the game, I think that Naturia Beast should be banned. But I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's ever going to be banned. But I think it definitely should be, because having a generic that locks that many decks out, like that, it locks so many decks out of playing at all. It's toxic. I think, yeah, it should be banned. Blaster, you can come to 1. I don't care. Blaster doesn't have an absurd effect. The only ones with actually absurd effects are Redox and Tidal. And while we did get Vernisylph, which is basically just like Redox, but a million of them, I still don't think that Redox is healthy. Glow Up Bulb. I feel like the moment we unlimit this thing, it's gonna get like abused, but sure. Sekka's Light. Is this thing hit? Sekka's Light can go to 3. Who cares? Recital Starling. There's no difference between 2 and 3 Recital Starling. Called by the Grave should be banned. I will go in depth as to why this thing should be banned if anybody wants to hear that, but I doubt anybody does. Grass, stay banned. Grass decks are toxic. Harp Horror, I don't give a fuck what happens to you. Sure, like banned or limited, it doesn't matter. Stay banned, I guess. Fuck August, sure. And Circular is fine at 3. There is no reason to hit Circular. Math Mech is not a problem. This is what I think should happen for the ban list. This would make Yu-Gi-Oh healthier. This would make a lot of Kashtira players very unhappy. But keeping people on toxic decks happy is not my priority. In terms of the top decks, right? I probably should acknowledge that Super Heavy Samurai and Purity are about to become best deck. Well, Purity. I don't think Purity is that good. But you need to acknowledge that there are more decks coming out that are going to probably push Cash out of the metagame. And for now, we can totally keep a Rise Heart in the game. I just say that it will be banned one day. Like one day, it's absolutely going to be banned. And if the list stays as I've put it here, Kashtira will still be competing, but it will not be on the same level as Super Heavy Samurai. It'll probably keep up with Purely though. And runic variants probably aren't going to keep up with this, but runic variants are probably they're only going to keep up if they're drawing 6 every turn cycle. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do to runic. I just don't think that they're very fair cards from a philosophy of the game. If your deck has any grind game at all, you can throw runic cards in there and get insane consistency. For example, you can put it in Math Mech. I've seen it put in Tritron. And I've seen it put in all sorts of decks. Runic is that generic, and it's strayed so far from its kind of design philosophy that it should probably be it. And then as for Sprite, look, limit starter if you really want. Sprite doesn't need to be hit beyond that. As for Branded's not good. Branded is straight up not a good deck. If you want to do something, it's Branded Fusion to 1. Where's Branded Fusion? Branded Fusion is not on here. Yeah, it's Branded Fusion to 1 if you want to do anything to Branded. And of course, Gimmick Puppet should be banned. That thing's not fair. Anything else Branded summoning to your board, you can get rid of in other methods, and they'll go away. Or, in the case of Kepler, I think it was, some DD card that they could summon that had the same thing that activates, you can also just like hand trap them at any point. They can't access Granguinol. It's harder for them to send. It's just a lot easier to beat anything that's not exactly like Gimmick Puppet Nightmare due to how the effect goes off. It's one of the same reasons why Azathoth was so strong that it didn't activate. Yeah. Many people are going to say, like, if you hit Expulsion, the new Albion's going to do the thing, or if you hit Gimmick Puppet, this other card's going to do the same thing. No, there's no other cards in the game that are as good at this as Gimmick Puppet Nightmare, and the strength of Gimmick Puppet Nightmare at doing this lock is at an unacceptable level, and there's no reason for it to be at that level, as opposed to, for example, Ra's Disciple. Yeah, who gives a fuck? Just tribute summon. Like, it doesn't matter. I'll also say, as an honourable mention, due to it not being listed here, that Magician of Black Chaos Max should 100% be banned, because if Kashtira gets hit, Drytron is about to be a top deck, because the only reason why Drytron is not good right now is because a Rise Heart counters the deck completely. Purely Noir can also do it, but if you side in like Draconids, you can just summon it using a Draconids from hand, and Noir can't do shit about that. You summon Amorphactor Pain, purely dies. Anyways, I'm going to stop ranting about Duratron. This has gone on for about 16 minutes. I'm just going to dip now and upload this to YouTube. Bye.